Hi, and happy Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Wednesday. Today we're going live with Ela Morello, and I'm super excited for everything that we're going to talk about today because we are going to demystify and connect with the sacred feminine. There's a lot of diversity and misinformation about the behind the whole concept, and so I'm really excited to have Ela on board. She should be logging in soon. She just joined. I'm waiting for her to. Let me see if I can have her, invite her over. But she is super knowledgeable in the subject. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the moon cycle, moon mandala, and all this fun stuff. Here she is. And 1 second here. Let me welcome her. She should be in his house. Amore, how are you?
Hello,
Okay,
Na.
my
How are
head.
you?
I'm good. My head is cut off. 1 second. Okay, how are you, my love? Thank you so much for saying yes to this. I'm super excited. Let me back up. Okay, I'm here. I love the
Thank you.
bedroom setup for this for my live, so sometimes my head gets cut off, but I'm here. Okay, so
Na,
yeah, so it's
if
really
you
weird.
cannot
Uh,
if
Go
you
ahead.
cannot hear me, you please let me know because I'm in outside of the house because there is a construction. So if I have to speak louder, please let me know.
Awesome. No, you're great. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, um, funny thing, let me just introduce you really quick because I didn't get a chance to do that. But we met. We're both from Brazil, so it's kind of weird to have this live for a full conversation in English. But what I love about you, you're just very grounded and real. You know, you have this really you're really big on the spiritual knowledge, but you're also like very grounded and centered in real life, and you play it real. And that's one of the things that I really do love about you. And I also want to welcome the space for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your work and how you even got into the whole spirituality and sacred feminine realm and everything that you do. That's so beautiful.
So, Na, thank you so much for having me here.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who is watching, also thank you for your time. Well, my name is Ela Morello. I am from Brazil. However, 10 years ago, actually 11 right now, I have started to walk the earth, let's say this way. And I was always in search for these answers, because now I would look around and I couldn't agree. Like, I'm like, there is something else to this. And as soon as I start looking for knowledge, I start figuring out that every knowledge that I actually had was inside. So in these walks throughout the planet, I have always tried to stay close to sacred places. So I got to learn a lot about this. And 10 years ago, no, 7 years ago actually, uh, I I met this older woman that literally changed my life. That was her that introduced me to this feminine wisdom about the moon related to our own cycles. And since then, I started practicing, and this has changed my life in such a level, deep understandings of myself, of us as a human being here, and so on. That actually I ended up like going to do a deep research into the middle of Amazon. I moved there for 3 months in this indigenous tribe with this woman that she's the leader of the tribe, and I really got to the root, let's say, of this experience. Because one thing that I have learned is because of my search for answers now, uh, I was understanding that actually I had a lot of knowledge in my mind, rational knowledge, and it was missing actually the experience of those knowledges, which is the feminine. So that's how I started, and literally it's something that you learn, and it's an energy that you keep tapping into. So that's how I started into this world.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, depending on where you are in your life, depending on your cycle experiences, you always find yourself back into these places where you sometimes have to like reset the button and redo the healing process once again. So it's like a never-ending cycle, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I would like to start with the first questions, right? Because today we're talking about demystifying and connection with the sacred feminine. And so I would like to ask you your true version of that. What does that mean to you? What does sacred feminine mean to you? And how do we really tap and connect to it? Because there's a lot of noise going on. There's this like the spiritual boom that's right there, and everybody's talking about the sacred feminine, and everybody it's healing their sacred feminine. But are we really healing? Are we really connecting? So this is an invitation that I would really like to bring to the discussion, that I would really like to bring to the table, and hear your point of view on this.
Of course, now. So how I see it, it's like this. Um, well, first of all, we have to understand that's how I believe that this is just a name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could have called the sacred feminine any other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just normal that us as human beings living in this third dimensional reality, we want to label things, right? So I want to start by saying that the sacred feminine is just a label that people a lot of times get a misunderstanding of this, because whenever we talk about this, a lot of them come and say, imagine that the sacred feminine is about this woman that have flowers in their hair and they use these long skirts, or they are super connected with nature, and somehow they create like a stereotype onto that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the feminine is there. So what I believe, how I see it, is like this: man and woman have masculine energy inside and feminine energy inside. However, because we live in a patriarchal society, meaning the masculine energy is always like super high and super well seen, let's put it this way, because it's the masculine energy is the energy of action, is the energy of producing, is having a goal and working towards that goal. In our society, this it's much easier for you to be in this energy than actually allow yourself to simply be. How many times do we feel bad? We feel, oh, we are getting behind, or I shouldn't be doing this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so this is the feminine energy that I am talking about here. So all of us, men and women, have this energy. So what I believe about the term, going back to your question, is like this. In the past, the sacred feminine was it, and it didn't have this name, obviously, was seen as everything that exists, meaning the earth, right? We say Mother Earth. So here it is, a feminine archetype, but the feminine was the energy of life, as the energy of being able to procreate, of the energy of instinct. So they would see the planets, the stars, everything for them was, all of this was the feminine, were able to bring life, and it was sacred. There was nothing wrong about our sexuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you know much more than I
Yeah.
do, but that's
Hello? Can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yeah, but my screen for some reason keeps going black, so that's why I keep tapping so that I don't know why
I
it keeps going black, but I'm hearing you. Don't worry.
Okay, good, because I received a call and
Good.
sometimes the audio doesn't come back. So I'm glad
Okay.
we're
So
here.
we're good. You're good.
So, nah,
Yes. Yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
sorry.
Don't worry, nothing to be sorry about.
So yes,
Go ahead.
so mainly
Okay.
it's like this, is for us to understand that actually is this energy, we're being invited to tap into this energy of our being, that
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, that is sacred, that is actually connected to something bigger, connected to the spirit, to our instincts, intuition, to our body. It's not just about going outside and doing. So this is more or less what I believe is a sacred feminine. There is nothing to do with the stereotypes. You can be a hardworking woman and still being connecting, be willing to connect to her, which is
Mm-hmm.
your wild side, which is that part of you that knows more than only what your eyes see. So I think I would put it in that way.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And I love how you brought also the that, you know, it's even like men can tap into their sacred feminine energy. And so that one second here. Okay. So that opens me to another question, which is really this duality, because there's a lot of healing involved in the feminine realm, like everybody's talking about sacred sexuality, sacred feminine. You know, a lot of people are even so connected to their feminine, right, trying to heal their feminine wounds and you know, just tapping into that feminine energy. And I feel like they're almost, and you know, and almost even forgetting that there's this also masculine polarity, that if you're, you know, just tapping into your feminine, but also forgetting about your masculine, you're still in balance, right? So you went from one extreme of just being in the masculine, and now you're just focused in the feminine. And so how do we even know where we are, and how do we even like how do we even know if we're balanced in the feminine and in the masculine, or how do we even bring that to a balance if it is out of balance?
Now, this is a really interesting question, actually, because well, we can see this from different perspectives. One is whenever we talk about the sacred feminine, let's put it this way, it's what I understand is going back. I have my phone on airplane mode, and they keep calling me. Well, let's try again. Sorry.
It's like,
Um, well, so here's the thing. We, as I said, like in the patriarchal society, it's really easy for us to actually be on this masculine energy. Whenever we're studying the sacred feminine or the feminine energy, we have to understand that there are two different things. The sacred feminine is the balance between the masculine and the feminine. Because whenever you're studying the moon, you're studying your own cycles, which is about feminine energy, is about cycles. Whenever you're doing the work to, you know, to get in touch with your sacred feminine, you are actually balancing these polarities, because two moons, let's say this way, talks about the action, and the other, so the masculine energy, and other two moons talk about the feminine energy. So the sacred feminine in itself brings this understanding to us. Okay, and then, for example, now let's talk about the feminine energy. Let me explain a little bit, so just we are in the same page.
mm-hmm.
The feminine energy, when I refer to that, is literally the part of us that has instinct, that has intuition, that allow ourselves just to be by observing our own self. Is that part of us that is inwards, that looks inwards. While the masculine energy is whenever we understand what's going on here, we are able to tap to our purpose, tap to our intuition, and so on. We then materialize in the outside um, world. So this is the masculine. So focus, goals. So why we are saying so much, let's tap into our feminine energy. It's not just about sitting there and meditating. That's not
Mm-hmm.
what this is about. It is about, look how much we have been doing things, how many years, our mothers, us, how many times we actually work in the outside world, and we get offended by people because we believe we're victims of situation and people, and we don't understand that actually everything starts from the inside, and then we manifest in the outside. So going back to our feminine and being able to take the reins of our life back in our hands, so we can start manifesting from the inside out. And right now, when we go to the sacred feminine, it's literally the balance between these polarities. Also, I want to say one thing. It is normal now that in different times of our lives, we are going to be tapping into one energy more than the other. Also, it is normal that we can be tapping into different archetypes in different phases of our life. For example, there are, let's say, I like to teach this because it's a way I connect with the feminine energy related to the moon. And each moon has an archetype, which out of them, two of those are feminine, two are masculine. So
Mm.
let's say if you are in a part of your career right now and you are working, 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 it's okay. Maybe your mother part is like kind of resting. And that's completely fine as long as you are aware of that, because that's the way we can balance. It's becoming aware of the both energies that we have inside and trying to, okay, now the predominant energy of my life is this one, is the feminine and the masculine. No problem. Is there something I can do to actually try to bring the balance in my daily life? Maybe I can be working, but maybe can I meditate a little longer? Or can I don't know, do a process of self-purification somehow? Ah, no, I'm too much in my feminine. So what can I do actually tangible to conquer my goals in the outside? So I guess that's more or less what
It's
I
more
believe.
asking yourself the questions and seeing how internal or how external you're doing in order to be able to shift and adapt to that moment, right? Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's another question here that I wrote down. Collective feminine. We cannot deny the big wave of women coming together to heal. That's there's a big sisterhood that's happening, and it's really beautiful to see women coming together to heal, to support each other for the growth. I feel like there's a lot of exchange, right? We're helping each other heal the wounds. We're learning how to step back into our power and to unite that, in order to get our power even stronger as women, as individuals. So I wanted to hear your point of view regarding the collective feminine energy and where do you see this heading towards?
Nah, it's so interesting because, like obviously, as you said, there is like right now this spiritual boom. I cannot even say if I don't even know if we can actually name it that way. But it was really interesting because whenever I started this, and it was like kind of a decade ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the first time I ever heard about this. And being honest with you, every time I would talk to women, they will be like, what is this person talking about? Even my own family, my own mother, my own grandmother. And I'm like, listen, we didn't learn this and so on. And interesting enough, they for some time it was not something we talk a lot about. And right now, with this spiritual boom, let's say it this way, this is just so beautiful because the feminine has been trying to reemerge for a long, long time. We have been calling. Like there was a conference actually that Dalai Lama, the conference was like in the 90s. And Dalai Lama said one thing that he got misinterpreted, by the way. He said, the woman, whenever the women come together, they will heal the world. They didn't understand anything that he said. They were like, what do you mean? Like thinking he was talking about politics or women in politics, whatever it is. And as of right now, we're finally understanding what does that mean. Because whenever we see that, if you look at men, this I'm gonna make a general statement, okay? But for example, it's so common that they are, even if they don't know each other, they actually are, um, they protect each other somehow. And somehow we were raised to compete between ourselves. We were raised like literally, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you actually go, I did a live super nice talk that is called Woman's History. And there I explained exactly why, how in going back in history, how did that happen? But literally we were fighting for men, we were fighting for husband. And this gets imprinted in our subconscious. So this is just one example. Then let's say in the modern world, you see all these beautiful women in magazines that they don't even recognize themselves. So constantly there is this comparison. We are afraid of losing for the other one. We were never taught to actually get together because us, for real, we have this ability to tap into the feminine energy. It's not that the men don't have, absolutely not, but it's a different way that they do that. So what Dalai Lama also was actually saying was first for the energy. Second, he was talking also about, all the countries that have women in power, they always try to look for the solution. It's really different the way we think. They try to look of something collectively, while the man is about the power, generally. So whatever I want to tell is right now we are finally being able to emerge because this feminine collective is being called. Whenever we heal our own selves, we literally are healing other women in a quantic level. You don't have to go there and think, because this would be really arrogant, that, oh my God, we're going to change the world. No, by doing the work, reclaiming our feminine essence inside of ourselves, we literally are already raising that vibration in order for other women to heal themselves. And on top of that, we are all getting together and being supportive. Like literally, it's not that long now that I can talk to you. I can talk to people about this. You can come to me and say, Rafa, come learn about sacred sexuality. And I come to you and say, nah, come learn about the energy of our menstrual period. So literally right now we are being able to connect much more. And this is literally just a consequence of this raising of our conscious as humanity. We are raising, we are vibrating a different level. We are being called to wake up, to stop, to awake. So yes. The re-emerging of the feminine is that. So that's what I think. I think you said where this is heading. Well, I'm so happy that literally at this point, I can see so much people talking about this, so much information there. And I'm like, wow. And I honestly think this is just going to keep raising and raising, maybe with other names. Who knows? What is important really is the healing we're doing inside. So that's what I believe, and I'd like to know what you believe now regarding that.
Absolutely. I'm on the same board as you. I feel like it's good to speak the same language with other people, with other women. And one of the reasons why I founded my company in the first place was because I felt kind of very lonely in the process. And it wasn't that long ago. I mean, you're talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about 5 years ago. And even 5 years ago, that wasn't so much the case. I think this became like 2-3 years ago. Like kind of like this boom happened. And so one of the reasons why I founded my company was because I felt very lonely in the process in my healing journey. And I was like, I need to get together with other women and I need to create a community, and like my own essence, my own feminine essence was already hungry for that community of other women. So I created something, and I feel that it was at the same moment that other women started creating the same thing, because I felt I think that the hunger, I would say, that need to come together and to embrace each other as sister, I think came about the same time. So now I feel very supported in my journey. And it's like what you said, I can pick up the phone and call at least 10 women, and have the same conversation, and they will definitely get, like, I meet somebody random at street, and even like with social media, it's so much easier to connect. And so I am just like super happy that this is happening. I really am. And there's so much questions that keeps coming up. And so at the same time, it's fun too. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like a competition. I just feel very supported by other women. And I love actually supporting other women as well, and embracing and making friends and just being aligned. So yeah. I love that.
I want to say that I am the proof that, by the way, I want to thank you for always supporting me in the best of your abilities. No, for real. So
thank you.
This is something that from the bottom of my heart, I'm so happy that this is happening, that we are finally in that place, and you said, oh, the questions keep coming. What I truly believe, which is, by the way, what I've learned from that woman, this indigenous woman, Native American, in the middle of the forest, she looked at me and she said, Ela, you white people, that they say everybody that is not Native Americans, they call white.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, you white people, you don't understand that you are much more than your mind. So since you are so identified with your mind, let me tell you something. The goal of all this work that you are doing, it's not to actually find all the answers. It's for your questions to always change. And that for me was so, it hit me now so much, because I constantly, in this way I was raised, I'm constantly looking for answers. Look at me. I have studied astrology, quantum physics. I was looking for answers because seriously, I'm like, listen, there is something more than this. I have to understand. And that's what I told you. What is the sacred feminine? It's about experiment with the cells of your being. When she told me that, I'm like, wow. So this is a cycle, never ending cycle. We are always changing. Whenever we die, we are going to still be changing, like nothing ever disappears. So, wow, how interesting. My questions will never disappear, but hopefully they're going to keep changing. So I keep evolving every day more. So that's something I wanted to share with you, because whenever you said, I thought about that.
Oh,
Was
thank you.
important.
Thank you. No, and I resonate with your work. I remember when we met, I don't know if you remember the first time we even saw each other. It was at the Natalia Scabia Spa where I have my showroom, and you went with Leticia and you guys had a workshop on the Moon Mandala, which is actually the next topic that we're going to talk about. And you brought this beautiful, I think it was like this hand painted rug or kind of thing, and you put that on the floor and you display that. And it was even the first time that I ever heard about the Moon Mandala. Like I had actually heard about it, but like actually seeing and knowing how to do it, and I'm still kind of confused. And you're the one that I know I've always bugged. It's like, Hafa, what's happening to me? And just very recently I had this shift, of like, and we had this conversation earlier this week of like always getting my period on the new moon, and then all of a sudden it went completely ballistic. And last period I got at the full moon, at the exact day of the full moon, and today is more, and I got my period today. Tomorrow is the quarter waning moon, and so it's shifting again. And so I'm still trying to understand everything that's going through me, through my cycles. And so I know you have a master class on the 24th, and I'm so excited. I already signed up, and this is also an invitation for everybody who's joining and tuning in. I am going to ask you, because I'm going to promote it on my link tree, to send me the link for people to register. There's a free master class where we can learn all of this, and I actually wanted you to talk a little bit, just kind of give us a little bit of like a little teaser of what that's all about and what you're going to be teaching, because I feel that's one of the first things that women should definitely learn and master in order to take the next step ahead, because I feel that's where everything lies, is everything's underneath. So our cycle teaches us a lot, and if we don't have that information, that's where we can literally go cuckoo. It's like, what is going on with me? Why am I broken? Why am I depressed today and happy tomorrow? So if you can give us a little bit about what the Moon Mandala is, obviously not spoiling everything that you're going to teach at the master class, but just kind of an introduction of what it is and how women can tap into that a little bit further.
Absolutely, Na. So yes, I'll send you the link, and the class will be 100% free and online on the 24th at 8 p.m. And what happens, which is interesting, is we first have to understand that the Moon Mandala and what I'm going to teach you is actually a tool of self-observation. I will never come to you and say, oh, in this part of your period or in this moon phase, you're going to be feeling like this. What I'm going to teach you is, wow, in this moon phase, the energies are like this. In your first week of your menstruation, the energy tends to be like this. And you are going to do this whole moon mandala, which is a tool for us to understand our cyclicality. Because I always said like about reclaiming your feminine nature, why we talk about the sacred feminine, is for us to understand what is my balance between my masculine and my feminine. Right? And in order to do that, I have to reclaim all the phases that I am, which is I am cyclic, I am feminine, I am someone that just like Mother Earth goes through cycles, and we go through this cycle every month. So if you notice, literally, you're able to see different mental patterns, physical patterns, spiritual patterns, rational patterns during 1 month. And that's the whole idea with the Moon Mandala, for you to understand how you will observe yourself. Also, what we learned there is, obviously, in a more deeper way, we understand like that our blood is talking to us. And a lot of time people say, oh, but I don't menstruate. It's completely fine. The moon is still going to influence you, because the moon influences the tides we are made out of almost 70% of water. So even though you do not menstruate, that's not a problem. That's why men also can see their changes because they also have water. They're made out of water. They will be influenced by the moon. But however, as women that have the cycle, that has this power, this prana, this energy in our womb, we do feel a lot, especially if we menstruate. Okay, but it's just the only difference is one, if you're just looking at the moon, you might take a little longer to understand your patterns. If you're working with your cycle, I am pretty sure in the first month you're going to be able to notice a lot how your patterns are different. And as I was saying, like the blood, it talks to us. So in a deeper way, after you understand what is your own patterns throughout 1 month in relation to the moon, because you learn how to do an equation to understand, oh, wow, okay, I'm menstruating. I'm giving just my example. I'm menstruating. Whenever I menstruate, my rational mind is off, literally. I have the craziest dreams. I just want to meditate. I just want to read. But if you ask me to literally write something that I would write in a week from my menstrual period, I would write in 5 minutes. I stay like probably the whole day and I can do it. That's me. You know, but the interesting thing is, if actually I'm menstruating, which is my new moon, and there is a new moon outside, forget about it. Like I already know I'm gonna say no because I know I won't be able to do it. However, if there is the waxing moon outside, I sometimes can do a little bit. So it's interesting how you get this equation for you. And you're like, okay, now that I know this about me, how I'm going to plan myself in order to work harmoniously with my period instead of me trying to go to a super important meeting that I know I'm going to be mad at everybody. Well, can I put this meeting 1 week before so I can, don't be my reactive mind? So that's the whole idea. And obviously, as more as you're going deep, more you understand why your body's talking to you. Because literally, as you said, and that's what we were talking, you were menstruating the new moon. And I told you the invitation for that, what it is. And now your cycle is back on menstruating the full moon. What is the message on that? What you can cure and nurture for your next cycle. So in sum, this is a little bit of the knowledge that you can acquire with the Moon Mandala tool, which, by the way, if you do it, you're going to be able to experience a lot of like a life completely from a different place. That's my experience with that. And yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how you're saying how you, now that you know your cycle, you don't book, you try not to book your meetings and your stuff like that around your period or before and whatever. And I feel exactly the same, but right now I'm going under a confusion because when I had my cycle at the new moon, I kind of knew. And I don't know if you remember one day that I called you, I was like, oh, my best phase is when the moon is crescent, walks in crescent, and I feel so active and I'm calling people and I'm writing and I'm doing this and I'm that. And but then when my cycle starts to wind down, I'm depressed, I'm introverted. So like, and I was like, and that's my favorite part when I'm out and about. And you're like, and I remember you said, of course that's your favorite part, because that's where when we actually have the energy to do what society implements, that everybody every day needs to be active. We need to get up and we need to talk to people, we need to socialize, we need to work, and we need to be always on the move. But then when our body's telling us, hey, just sit down, relax, don't talk to anybody, or today is the time to write, or and you're like, oh my god, I'm feeling like crap. And you're like, and you don't want to feel like crap. But then I started, when you told me that was a big hit, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Of course it's going to be because I'm aligned, or at least we were programmed to align, to believe that that's what we need to do. And we feel bad when we go against what everybody expects us to be doing, especially as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. You have to always be willing to say yes to everybody, and I was a yes person for a long time. And then when I started realizing that I'm more quiet now, I can only do so much. I'm more on in front of the cameras now, but I can only do so much. So yes, I'm saying yes to this because I want to deliver more information to my viewers, but I'm saying on the back end, I'm saying no to other things. So it's like I'm giving and taking. So that was a big invitation for me when I started doing the Moon Mandala. My only thing with the Moon Mandala, I have a hard time, and this was even something I noticed with the Moon Mandala, is not being able to do it the whole month. So the month that I'm active and the month that I'm more aware, you see my Moon Mandala super filled out. And then half of it is just blank. Like I don't even look at it, you know? And so there's a lot of questions that come up. And so I'm super excited for your masterclass. Please share me the link. I'll be putting it here for my viewers. And also follow Ella. She has more information there. She has amazing content that I super advise and I learn from you all the time, Rafa. So thank you so much for being here, for your participation. It's a pleasure. And now we have to do one in Portuguese because I feel like there's a lot of also, I feel like there's a lot of people walking in that are my friends from Brazil and speak Portuguese. And I feel like it's going to be amazing as well. So thank you for your time,
Absolutely.
for your knowledge. And I love you very much. And I'm happy to be collaborating with you all the time. Yes.
Nah, thank you so much, so much. And I'll see you in the master class because whatever you just told me right now, I love it. And I really, that was exactly what I was saying, which is, you see how we feel comfortable in being our masculine energy. So the whole goal is really for us to be able to embrace all the parts of us. So thank you, because I'm going to do some master class after exactly what you said in the end. So I will see you there.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Wait for me.
I will.
Wait for me.
I will. Thank you so much. Have
Thank
a
you.
beautiful Wednesday. And
You
today's a great
too.
portal, so let's do some manifestation and some rituals for that.
Perfect, Nah. I'll
Awesome.
see you. Thank
Beijo,
you.
Rafa. Bom te ver.
Bye bye.
Tchau.
Beijo, Nah.
Bye.